Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems Doctors,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
the Systems Doctors.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Systems Doctors
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems Doctors
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 217 of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Systems Doctors -1. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston, and if you normally tune in with us, you know that my counterpart, the other systems doctor, Dr. Tammy Taylor, is normally with us, but today she is off at one of her early childhood meetings. She is the vice president of SKICA, so she is required to be there this morning, and they have a phenomenal conference going on that she is a part of. So shout out to her and everything that she's doing, and we know that she is doing a phenomenal job. So I'm going to be solo today. And so usually if you're tuning in or if you know who we are, you're very aware. But if this is your first time tuning in and you're not sure or haven't heard of the Systems Doctors, we are best-selling authors and speakers. We transformed our schools by our report card grades, moving up 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. We are award-winning leaders, being an NWEA case study school, and Admentum Showcase School, STEAM School of Excellence, the Palmetto Silver Award for Academic Growth, the Local Entrepreneurs Accelerator Program Award, Avid MC Selection, and most recently, the Avid Global Achievement finalist for the elementary category for Dr. Taylor. We are also senior staff developers for Create and Educate. And as co host of the Real Academy, we have impacted over 300,000 educators and about 7 million students through our free weekly live stream PD that you are tuned into right now. And we are very thankful for that. We specialize in helping schools through improving through our resilience framework that you see over my shoulder. And it's also connected to our resilience series, which is our new line of children's books. That is why I'm pre-recorded, because I'm actually out as you're watching this at an event where I'm promoting our new children's book series that the first book, Amir's Awakening, has been endorsed by Principal Kafele. So we are very thankful for that. But each episode is a part of our Fantastic Four network that we are very elated to be a part of. You just saw Principal Sean Hurt. He starts off the Fantastic Four at 10 a.m. Yours truly, Create and Educate. We are here at 10:30, and then at 10:55, the leader's mentor and the GOAT is with us, Principal Kafele, the AP and New Principals Academy. Then on Sensational Sunday, we are tuning in to the PGP podcast with Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. On Saturdays, Principal Kafele has coined this Super Saturday. So please like, share, subscribe, send the stars, comment, do all of the things that the platforms do to help us build up these algorithms. And we thank you for it. So our real comment from episode 216, where we discussed student-centered and teacher realistic, came from Dr. Joe Griffin, who stated, discipline has to be more than penal. A positive discipline culture is cultivated by leaders and teachers. And he is absolutely right. When we're thinking of things being student centered, but also adult realistic, we do have to put things in place where we're not just penalizing students, but we are providing some of those restoration and restorative practices. But we do have to be realistic with that. And so that's what that entire episode was about. So if you missed that episode, please make sure you go back and view it on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. We are live on all of those platforms. Normally, at this point, we would definitely do our Real Fam shout outs. And so, since we're pre recorded, in lieu of that, I will be doing some other shout outs here. So, if you've looked at my page recently, you saw that Tammy and I are very excited, elated, grateful, and very humble to have been invited to um, present in Canada and Nova Scotia at the this is sponsored by the Black Educators Association there. And we're so thankful to, we're calling her Queen Jacqueline Harriet, who invited us, but we are just elated to be able to go and share. And on my page, I shouted out and thanked multiple people because there have been several people that are a part of our journey. And you all definitely are a part of that journey. And we just wouldn't be where we are right now today if it wasn't for the support, if it wasn't for the encouragement, sometimes the pushes. So we thank everybody who definitely has been a part of our journey, and you all are included in that. And when we return, we will be hosting another Start a Nonprofit and Write a Grant workshop That's going to be on November the 11th and 13th in conjunction with York Technical College. So we will be teaching that class there at York Tech. So if you need to get registered, please do. We would love to have you. So you all bear with me because I'm solo and I'm having to do all the things, but I'm gonna have it covered. So this brings us to episode 217. Dropped out or pushed out is our title. Dropped out or pushed out. And we think this is a great topic. What we want to know is, do we have the right systems in place to help students thrive? So when we're looking at this topic, we have to start off with the data. If we're examining this in our own district, schools, what have you. And so what you need to ask yourself is, have you even asked families, and that's students, if they're old enough, and parents, about the types of educational structuring that they are interested in? And what I mean by that is, do you have a need for virtual? Is there a need for morning and afternoon programming? Do you have students who work and their families are dependent upon their income for the household and would definitely benefit from the structures that I just mentioned? Do you have an accelerated program for students who are not motivated? We talk a lot about students not being motivated about school, but do we have anything that's accelerated for those students? Do you have any non-traditional tracks for students who may not be interested in attending a traditional four-year college? Do you have dual enrollment in place that allows students to graduate with advanced degrees or our work-based certifications from your technical areas, the career centers? Because if we are still building community schools, because they will come with no regard to finding out what the needs are, we haven't asked anybody anything. We're just assuming that everybody fits into this traditional box that we have, had since I graduated in 1995, and before that, because a lot of you on here graduated before that, and the same things are still in place, then we're really not doing it right. We're really not putting children in the advantage that they need to be. We're really doing them a disservice, because now everyone has choice. They can go to charter schools, they can go to virtual schools now. Homeschool is an option, and many parents are educated about a lot of these options. So as we continue to just build the schools and they will come, what we're finding is that a lot of our enrollments are dropping, they're declining. If some of your enrollments have dropped in your district or school, just put that in the chat, just to let us know. Are you seeing that decline in your area, with students and parents having other choices and they are choosing those other choices? So let's just say that we have all the things that I mentioned in place. Your non-traditional setting, that most people call alternative schools, and I really hope that we're moving away from calling the non-traditional settings alternative schools, because there are so many negative connotations associated with just that thinking of alternative school. So those people who are more progressive in their thinking are gravitating towards titles for those schools that includes things like academies, or some other name, like our brother in Florida, Principal James Presley, who is at Sumter Prep Academy, who to me is the model for everything that I talked about under this umbrella of non-traditional alternative. and that's the name of his school. So the first thing we want to look at for our own non-traditional settings for students is, what are we calling them? Because if it's something that, repels people, children and parents are not even going to gravitate towards that. Do they have their own beds code? And that means in the education, we call it educanese, where we have our own jargon in education. If you're not in education, the beds code is what allows a school to be its own entity and not have to just basically have students on their roll, but not actually be an actual school. They're still on their home school's roll. If you're in education, you know what I'm talking about. And so, because if that's the case, then students are only at these alternative settings without a beds code for a specific period of time, and they're required to have to go back to their home schools. And so that's the next question. Are students allowed to stay or permanently, or do they have to go back to their home schools? Because sometimes children will do better at the alternative setting. At the conference that I talked to, a leader who gives this option to her students because she does have her own beds code. And what she does is, if students would like to stay at her academy, instead of going back to their home school, what they have to do is present the case for them being able to stay. And what she stated was, for one young lady, she told her, if I go back, I will have to be a part of something that I don't want to be a part of. But if I stay here, I am clear of that and will be able to accomplish my goals. So, having real options for students, it goes back to, are we looking at our students just dropping out again, or are we pushing them out with our systems and the choices that we have in place? The next question, are you having mid-year graduations for students who are graduating early, or is everybody just having to wait to the end of the year? We even had students this year who were having to be deployed because they were going into the military. When the military tells them to come, they had to go. They couldn't even wait until the walk, the ceremony, the actual graduation date. So, are you even looking at these things and have other opportunities in place for children to be able to walk, to be celebrated by their families, to have this experience that they have gone to school for 12 years to be able to experience? Those are the types of things that are important. The next thing we want to look at is, how much funding is diverted to your alternative setting school? Because we determine what we value in education by looking at where the money is going. And many times there is no true analysis in place to determine where money is being spent. So are you're saying you value something, but are you really putting your money where your mouth is? And so if that is not the case, that's something that you really need to examine and look at. The next thing we want to examine is every demographic of student that you serve growing. And I'm talking about your multi-language learners, your African American students, your girls compared to your boys. What does that growth look like? Students who receive special services and interventions. Are these students growing? And at what rate are they growing? I was so impressed with a young man who was at the conference that I just attended, the National Dropout Prevention Conference in Florida, Orlando, Florida. The student, he was an elementary school student. I think he was in fifth grade, but he was autistic. His principal, Megan, I think it's Leverfees. She is in Gastonia, North Carolina, but she is also a fam member. She stated that she watched all of us, the Fantastic Four. So her student was there with her to present at this conference. And the thing that they wanted to relay to everyone is this young man with autism started off with an IEP where he was receiving a number of accommodations, but the teachers were trained in how to serve him with his autism. He was shown strategies of how to navigate what he was dealing with. And right now, he's not even on an IEP anymore. He has progressed now to just having the 504. And it was stated that the goal is by the time he graduates high school, he will have learned to navigate that so well that he won't even need the 504 anymore if he doesn't want it or his family decides they don't want it anymore. And so when we are looking and examining our children who are being served in by special services or these interventions or programs, are the students growing to where they don't need the IEP anymore? They don't need the 504, because if we're just having a continuation of students the same students every year with the same classifications and receiving the same accommodations, we're not doing something right. We really are not providing the best service for those students. So if this is something that happens in your area where you're seeing growth with students who are receiving those services, they're, testing out of their IEPs, not having a need for them anymore, put that in the comments, because I thought that that was just phenomenal. That's something that you don't hear a lot about. That is how it really should go. And that's not what you're seeing in a lot of places. So the bottom line is, if we are not looking at everything that I just talked about, when we look at these so-called dropout rates, and then we call some of them, um, then a lot of it is not dropout rates. It's actually being pushed out by broken systems, antiquated thinking, and not really finding out from the populations that we are serving how to best serve them. So that brings me to our close. And our teaching today really touched on every part of the framework: respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, leadership, and all three systems, which are the systems of respect, excellence, and accountability. So if you liked what you heard today, type real good in the comments, and that's REALL. And now it is time to log on with Principal Kafele in the virtual AP and New Leaders Academy. Check out Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Mari Moreno on the PGP podcast on Sensational Sunday. And then right back here on what Principal Kafele has coined Super Saturday with Principal Sean Hurt kicking us off at 10 a.m. and that's Eastern. Yours truly, Create and Educate at 10:30. And I'm sure Dr. Tammy Taylor will be back with me next week. And then we round out with the GOAT, Principal Kafele, at 10:55. So please remember that we create and educate so that you can thrive. We really hope that you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support and being here on Saturdays, because we know that you could be doing a lot of things, but you are intentional about being here with us. Thank you and have a great rest of your Saturday.